Hello fellow musicians and music enthusiasts. In this video we're going to talk about the RCM Level 4 Practical Piano Exam. The information here is all based on the RCM 2022 Piano Syllabus, which was released in March of 2022 and is current as of the date of this recording, which is in May 2022. We're going to cover the overview of each section of the exam, the permitted substitutions, the grading scheme, and finally any changes that were made from the 2015 syllabus. So let's get started. So let's start with a bird's eye view of the exam. We have our three main sections: the repertoire section, technical requirements section, and musicianship section. We're gonna talk about each one in turn, starting with repertoire. For the repertoire section, we have three pieces that we need to learn from lists A, B, and C. Now, as we remember from the previous level, each list represents music from a particular historical period or a particular genre. So list A has music from the Baroque repertoire, list B, classical and classical style repertoire, and list C is romantic 20th and 21st century repertoire. And keep in mind that you can earn 2 extra marks per piece if you have it memorized. Moving on, for the technical requirements section of the exam, first of all, we have our technical tests. This is the biggest part of this section. And the technical tests are made up of scales, chords, and arpeggios. So arpeggios are the big new addition to the level 4 exam. We did not have them in previous levels. Now HT in brackets means hands together, and HS means hands separate. So let's look at our scales first. For this level, we need to know 4 major scales: D, A, B flat, and E flat. And we need to know 3 minor scales in 2 versions, so in harmonic and melodic versions. And they are B minor, G minor, and C minor. We also need to know formula pattern for C minor, harmonic, and chromatic scale starting on C. Now, chromatic scale is the only one that can still be played hands separate. Everything else needs to be played hands together. For the chords, so just like with our scales, we have our 4 major chords or triads that we need to be able to play. So D, A, B flat, and E flat. And we have 3 minor: B, G, and C. Now, this is actually the first level. So level 4 is where you need to start playing your chords hands together. In the previous level, it was still hands separate. And remember that the chords need to be played in broken and solid form. Now for the arpeggios, the new section here, we need to be able to play 4 major arpeggios. So D, A, B flat, E flat, just like we saw with the chords and the scales. And for the minor, B, G, and C. And finally, the last component of the technical tests are the etudes, and we need to know 2 of them for level 4. Moving on, so we come to the musicianship section of the exam. So here we have 2 components. We have ear tests and sight reading. So let's begin at taking a look at the ear tests. These ones, as we might remember from before, are made up of clapback, intervals, chords, and playback. And the sight reading is made up of rhythm and playing. So for the clapback, let's talk in more detail about this one. Now remember, this is where the examiner plays a short melody for the student, and the student has to clap back the rhythm. So the melody is going to be in one of these possible time signatures: 3/4, 4/4, or 6/8. So intervals, this is where we identify the quality of an interval that an examiner will play. So the options here are minor third, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and a perfect octave. For the chords, here we're identifying the quality of a triad, so you will hear either a major or a minor triad in root position. And for the playback, so remember that's when again the examiner plays a short melody, and then you have to come up to the piano and play it back the best you can. Now they will tell you which key the melody is in, and so the possible keys will be D or A major or G or C minor, and a starting note of the melody is going to be either the tonic, the median, or the dominant. For the sight reading, so the rhythm part of the sight reading is where you see rhythm written in front of you, and then you have to tap and clap it back. So here the possible time signatures are 3/4 or 4/4. And for the actual playing, so the actual sight reading, the possible keys you might get are C, G, D, or F major, or A, E, or D minor. And the time signatures again are either 3/4 or 4/4. For the substitutions, so remember that substitutions are optional. You don't have to substitute any of your pieces. But if you do decide to do so, let's keep these rules in mind. So students can substitute a maximum of 2 pieces, one from repertoire and or one from etudes. If you choose to substitute a repertoire piece, keep in mind that you can replace one piece from any of the 3 lists with a piece from the level 5 repertoire book, or you can replace the list C piece with a teacher's choice, which has to be of similar length and difficulty. For the etude substitution, an etude can be replaced with an etude from the level 5 book, or a teacher's choice, or a popular selection list. As for the grading scheme of the exam, this is exactly the same as we had for the previous level. So let's look at what each section is worth. So repertoire is the biggest section, worth 56 marks in total, which is broken down into 16 marks for the list A piece, 18 for list B, 16 for list C, and 6 for memorization. Technical requirements, a total of 24 marks, broken down into 12 for the etudes and 12 for technical tests. And finally, musicianship, total of 20 marks, 10 for the ear tests and 10 for sight reading, which brings us to a total of 100, with the passing grade being 60. As for the changes from the previous 2015 syllabus, again, there have not been any changes in terms of the actual requirements. The only thing that is different here is that many of the pieces in the books have been changed and updated to make them a little bit more fresh. And that takes us to the end of the video. Thank you for watching to the end. If you are planning to take the RCM Level 4 exam, we wish you luck, and we will see you in the next video.